Yo, what's going on guys, and welcome back to another Forsaken Guide. Today we have the last killer, which is 1x1x1x1, and how you can play him competitively. If you like these guides, make sure you like and subscribe. It helps the channel out a ton, and the next 10 videos will be on the survivors and how you can play them competitively, so stay tuned for those. But without further ado, I'm going to put the timestamps on screen right now if you want to skip to a certain point in the video. So, I'm not going to waste any more of your time if you do want to skip to those. I do have a little something extra to say this time though, and that is the fact that 1x1x is a very projectile-centered killer, so everything that I say in this video you can kind of take with a grain of salt, but I am giving you, to my knowledge, the best possible way you can really play 1x, so don't worry about that at all. Just know that because 1x is so projectile-focused, it's really hard to give you a end-all be-all strategy, but like I said, to my knowledge, this is the best way you can play 1x, so I won't waste any more of your time, and let's just hop right into the video. There are three main ways that I like to use entanglement, with the first one being used a lot more than the other two, and that is when I've been chasing a survivor for a very long time and I reach about 1 to 10 stamina, so I know that the survivor is almost out of stamina as well, because while I've been on their tail this entire time, I can throw an entanglement out there in their general direction and it usually hits every time because the survivor has only about 10 stamina to really try to avoid it, which means they can't get far and you can usually almost always get the hit on them. The second way I like to use it is when survivors are running down a tight area or enclosed corridor, and I throw it kind of at an angle where it covers the path they've been running, but also covers a bit outside of where they were running, so if they try to dodge it, it would still hit them as well. You have to just make sure to throw your projectiles not too tightly against walls so that you can cover as much area as possible. The third way I like to use it is when sentinels are trying to get a little too close to you, and you can kind of see them getting too close to you because you should always be paying attention. So if they try to get a little too close to you, you can just immediately shift lock, turn around, and throw an entanglement in their face, and they're usually not ready for it. But let's move on to 1x's second projectile. Everything that I've said for entanglement can also apply to mass infection, so I'll just add a few more things on top of it. Mass infection is my greatest whiff punisher for sentinels because it has that double hit mechanic that is really punishing and does a ton of damage. You can use unstable eye and then mass infection towards a generator, and sometimes that catches people off guard. But the main way that I like to use mass infection is as your check projectile. And what I mean by that is when I first throw my mass infection at somebody, I'm going to throw it right where they're standing just so I can test what kind of dodger they are. Do they dodge to the left? Do they dodge to the right? Or are they someone who dodges differently depending on the environment that's around them? And that's what you have to really realize as 1x, is that you have to know how to read people and you have to really be paying attention. He seems like a brainless and random killer, but honestly he's truly not sometimes. You really have to know how to read people and you'll be hitting your projectiles a lot more often. So let's move on to unstable eye. There are two decent ways to use Unstable Eye apart from being a location revealer, and the first one is when you're waiting for someone at a god loop and get all your stamina, you can pop Unstable Eye and then have speed 1 for 10 seconds while you chase them around the loop, which usually gives you actually enough distance to hit them, which is really nice. The other use is when there are a lot of people alive still, and you pop your Unstable Eye and try to hit people through a wall who aren't expecting it. Usually this won't work though, because a lot of people are paying attention to when the sound is for Unstable Eye. So it's a lot better to use Unstable Eye for that speed boost when you're trying to get someone around a loop, aka at the start of a chase. You can't do it in between a chase because then the survivor will just get a ton of distance on you. So let's move on to Rejuvenate the Rotten. Rejuvenate the Rotten really only has two uses in my opinion, and the most obvious one is last man standing. And now with the 1x changes from before, it's not worth it to actually kill your clones anymore during Rejuvenate the Rotten, in my opinion. They put a lot more pressure on survivors simply just being there, so I would recommend actually keeping them alive just so that the survivor has a rough go of it wherever they try to run. The other use for it is when there are no characters left in the game that can actually do anything about your minions. So let's say you've managed to kill every sentinel first, well then you should just rejuvenate the rotten on the spot because no one else can do anything about it. Sure, they might be able to hide themselves like Noob or 007, but there's no one left who can actually kill any of your clones, so they do put a lot of pressure on the remaining survivors. And that's just the best way to use it is for pressure, pressure, pressure. But with all the abilities out of the way, let's finally get into the first match analysis of this video. So starting up this first game, I immediately didn't realize that there are two people here who are actually on my team, and that is the camper guest and the Shedletsky, so keep them in mind I suppose. I immediately find this guest and go after him, and since he uses a charge, I know he's going to be stuck at the end of it, so I throw my entanglement at where his charge will end and immediately get a free hit there. I know he's going to block really soon here, so I try to fake him out with an M1, but it doesn't work, so I think he's trying to hold on to it, so now I'm actually trying to hit him, and he does actually get a good block on me there. He did guess work on me. I get an entanglement for free since I know he's still low on stamina, and I continue the chase. I see Shedletsky and am able to react to him pretty fast, so I dodge that stun and continue my chase on the guest, and since guest starts standing still and I know he's about out of stamina, I hit him with a free mass infection, and now that his block is off cooldown, I have to be a little weary again, but I get a free entanglement on the 2-time and another free hit, so I wait for this guest to block, which he does, and I am able to take him down. I immediately set my eyes on this next guest, which does happen to be one of the players on my comp team, but I also get a free hit on Shedletsky since he's just going to stand there and do a generator right in front of my face, and then continue the chase on this guest. I throw the entanglement at an angle at whichever way he tried to go, it would still hit him. I tried to predict him there with a mass infection, but he's way too far away and had much more stamina, so I was better off not going for it there. Since 1x is super slow, I have to make sure I get all my stamina back before trying to go for this chase once more. I do get a hit on him there because of it. And now I have to be wary once again of the Shedletsky. He misses his charge, so I get a hit for free. I try to catch Shedletsky off guard, but it does not work out. So I use my unstable eye to try to see where the guest went, since I did lose track of him. And I notice that there's so many people around me, so I try to get some free hits on everyone else since they're being so close to me, and I do get some free hits on the guest and this 2-time. I don't really understand what they're doing, just taking free hits. But I immediately try to find the guest once more, and I realized that he's used a medkit, so I'm like, that sucks. I get a pretty lucky entanglement there, but he does play on console, so he's able to immediately break out. He goes into this weird little corner, so I'm able to get another free mass infection on him, and then I can continue the chase, and I know he has a lot more stamina than I do, so I'm probably going to have to regain all of my stamina here if I want to get something good going. But I just try to get some more lucky projectiles, and it doesn't work out. Don't throw your projectiles out willy-nilly like I was this game, because that usually will not work out for you. So once again, I unstable eye to try to get some speed going, and I get all of my stamina back once more, because that's the only way you're going to catch up to people, is if you have all of your stamina back before starting a chase. He does charge straight into the truck, so I'm able to get 2 hits on him. I'm being weary of the 2-time as much as I can be at least. And I missed my entanglement once more, but because I missed my entanglement, it forced him to use a lot of his stamina to dodge it, or the last bit of his stamina to dodge it, so he does go down finally. This 2-time was already low on stamina for trying to keep up with me, so I immediately hit my projectiles and quick drop them with a 1-2 combo right there. I immediately see Shedletsky right here, so I start the chase up, and I know that I'm lower on stamina here, so I'm going to have to be a little more careful. I try to unstable eye and hit a projectile prediction here, but he does hear me charge up my entanglement and can dodge it a little bit by just walking out of the way a little bit right there. He is slower than me right now because I turn the corners a little faster, so I do take a stun for it, but he also takes a hit, and with the glitch damage, it's a fair trade in my opinion. This guest tries to block, I think, right there, but he just have no idea what's going on there. I do check Shedletsky here in the corner and watch him drop down, so I'm able to get a kind of small advantage on him. He does hit the wall here. It's an unfortunate situation, so I get the free entanglement on him. I get a double hit on him by pre-running him, and I try to predict him here, but he does end up dodging a different way than he has before. I start waiting at this wall to get all my stamina back since it's a short loop, and he does realize this, so he tries to run away, but it's already too late. I immediately catch up to him and know he's about to try to swing his sword, so I take him down right there. This guest tries to pop his soda and then block, but that's a very outdated strategy. Please don't try that as guest. So I immediately charge up mass infection and just delete him on the spot for trying that. So let's move on to the game 2 analysis. I'm immediately taking note that there's only one Elliot here, so if I see them, I'm gonna go for them, and I actually do find them immediately, so I start chasing them right off the bat, and they immediately pop their rush hour to get away from me, but I already caught up to them pretty fast since they used a lot of their stamina at the very beginning of the match. I'm able to get them with an entanglement since they were already low on stamina, and they get quick dropped shortly after, so I'm already feeling really good. This Shedletsky's dancing right here in the corner, so I get all of my stamina back before starting the chase, and I get a free hit on him, and he does hit me with his sword, but that's perfectly fine. Trading getting stunned for a hit on somebody is honestly not too shabby in a pub lobby. So I start chasing him around this corner and keeping eye on the 2-time, but I immediately forgot, I suppose, and get backstabbed immediately. Kind of funny there. I took an eye on him and then immediately stopped paying attention right after. But this Shedletsky immediately gets caught back up to, but I miss a couple M1s, a lot of M1s, until finally hitting him up close entanglement for free. And then he tries to take off running a little bit, and now I know he has his sword slash here again, so I have to be careful once more. So he's trying to juke now, which means he's already lost, and there is the sword swing. I was anticipating it this whole time, so I'm able to get it immediately, and then take him down with another easy entanglement since he was low on stamina. This next Shedletsky has no idea that you have iframes after you've killed somebody, so I get 3 hits on him for free, and he's basically just as good as dead. I get another hit on some Shedletsky standing still right here as well, and I quick drop this Shedletsky in about 10 seconds. I immediately set my sights on this next guy that I see over here, the 2-time, because they got a stab on me, but this noob is in a worse spot, so I decided to go for them instead. I get 1 free hit on him, and notice that the 2-time is coming in for a stab, so I charge up my entanglement and hit them before they can get a backstab on me. I was hoping I would get it before they stabbed me at all, but I digress, and I immediately catch up to them because they're trying to juke, and they go down right here. And now I'm setting my eyes back on the noob because I don't know where the other 2 are at. So I get all my stamina back, and then start the chase right here. I tried to predict him, but he ran into the generator not knowing it was there. And there's just something about juking in this game. You know, this is a great example of why you should never juke as a survivor, because everyone just gets dropped really fast here. Shedletsky misses his stun because he just ran up straight into my face and tried to stun, which is so obvious. Like, please don't ever get stunned by someone trying that. I get the noob killing him there by using Unstable Eye to track him, and now this Shedletsky has no chance because I've already started the chase right next to his face, and he's trying to juke as well, which I don't understand. He tries to eat a chicken, and then he just goes down immediately. So we're going up against the noob in LMS here, which is no problem at all because I have 6 bodies with Rejuvenate the Rotten, so I immediately try to cut off the noob in this little corner here, and I also rejuvenate the rotten, of course, because there's so many bodies on the other side of the map that this person will have no chance. They try to run into this little room, so I get a free hit on him, and so does my minion. They try to run through this edge here, so my minion gets another hit on him. He tries to go up the truck, which will not work out. He could because he pops his slate skin, and then a mass infection up close actually deletes noob's slate skin, so just keep that in mind if you're ever playing against a noob. A mass infection up close actually straight up destroys the slate skin, which is pretty funny. And then, because they started the chase so close, there's no way they can escape me in time, and they do die right there. So let's move on to the final part, which is our competitive 1v1 analysis. I'm starting this 1v1 off thinking that since they picked a guest as the survivor, that I'm going to have to be a little weary on what kind of block methods they prefer, but we're going to figure that out as we go. They don't make it to the funhouse fast enough, so I'm able to catch them right here in the worst corner on this map, and they start looping around the corner, of course, but my pathing is a little better than theirs, so I'm able to catch up to them pretty fast, and they realize this, so they try to get away, but since we're both low on stamina, I get a free entanglement on him and a couple free hits, because he doesn't seem like the type who likes to block yet. So I keep going for my free hits, and then finally I think he's going to try to block here, but he actually doesn't. So I once again go for another hit, and he tries to block finally once he has no health left, so he gets taken down. To recap everything we've gone over in this video, 1x is obviously a very projectile-centered killer, and you're slower than all the other killers, so you can't catch up to people if you don't know what you're doing. Using your projectiles after you've gassed out after chasing a survivor for a long time is almost a surefire method to hit survivors, because what can they really do when they only have 10 stamina to dodge a projectile? A lot of people say that 1x is truly random and it's annoying because of how random he is, and in part they are correct. Like, at the end of the day, part of that is true. But at the end of the day as well, you have to realize you can use this to your advantage because it's all about understanding and predicting people, which is why you use check projectiles to see which way people like to dodge or their tendencies in dodging. Because if you are able to utilize this, then suddenly 1x doesn't feel so random anymore. Using your unstable eye for catching people off guard with some projectiles, using Rejuvenate the Rotten when there's no stunners left. Those things are also great as well. Fully utilizing your projectiles is going to take some time to master if you really do want to play 1x at a competitive level. So really just focus on that in your next couple of games. If you do play 1x, try to read people and try to understand people a lot more, and I promise you, you'll do a lot better. But thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe. It helps the channel out a ton. I'll see you all in the next couple of videos where I'll be doing some Survivor comp guides.